Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the 2021 Pitch Workshop. I'm Stephanie, and I'm the Social Innovation Entrepreneurship Associate at Baltimore Corps. And today, you'll be able to ask any questions that you have regarding your own pitch, and hopefully, you'll be able to improve your pitch too by the end of today. So I'll leave it to Caitlin next.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. She has worked very, very hard to plan this event. So we're excited to continue to do this work in the digital space. We're not going to let a pandemic stop us from getting the businesses the resources that they need. So I really appreciate everyone joining us tonight. If you don't know about us, we're Baltimore Corps. We are a local nonprofit in West Baltimore, and we focus on bringing talent and connecting it to opportunity with the racial justice and equity lens in Baltimore. So my specific work on the social innovation and entrepreneurship team with Stephanie and some other folks is actually around bringing those resources to entrepreneurs and making sure they have access to capital. So we have our Elevation Awards program, which offers seed grant funding to social entrepreneurs. And then we also have our Kiva Baltimore program, which I get to manage and get to work with all the wonderful entrepreneurs, some of which are on this call, to be able to, support their businesses, grow them, scale them, and be able to access capital that they may not be able to find in other places through a really unique model of crowdfunding community that way. So we're really excited to be hosting this workshop. This is in preparation for our annual event. Every single year we have our Kiva Baltimore pitch competition, which is going to be happening on March 4th. We'll drop some more info in the chat about that a little bit later. Make sure you RSVP. We're going to have Kiva entrepreneurs from our network to come and pitch, and there's going to be over $5,000 worth of prizes available for folks. So it's sure to be a good night, and I'm excited to be able to kind of prepare with this, open up this opportunity to our larger network, and then hopefully see some more folks from this call next year who are interested in our pitch competition. But this will be a good prep for all the ones that are coming up. Jim, I'm sure you already have a running list of the spring pitch competitions that are opening up because I've seen them coming out. So with that being said, yeah, I'll turn it over to you, Jim. All on you now, sir.
All right, welcome everyone. I know it's been a long day, so I'm gonna not stand here and talk all night. I want to run through this pitch deck. First of all, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a former business owner. I'm a business coach, currently working with M&T Bank. M&T Bank has been a partner of mine. When I was in business, M&T Bank was my bank. When I was with the Small Business Resource Center, M&T was my partner. So they funded a lot of programs that we did. So I like to say that I've been with M&T for over 20 years, right? Because either I was a customer or I was partnering with them, and now I work for M&T Bank. So we're bringing this pitch prep to you tonight to get you prepared for whatever pitch competition you have coming up, like the Kiva.org pitch competition that's going to be coming up soon. So we're going to go through, like I said, I'm going to kind of speed through this. We got a little bit of a late start, and we apologize for that. I'm going to speed through this just to make sure that you know what we're going to cover and what you need to have. But please reach out to me or Caitlin, and we can get you a copy of this later. What's most important is that we have a conversation about your needs. I want to hear what your questions are around pitching. And hopefully help you as you start your pitch program for 2021. Is that good for everybody? Any questions off the top before we get started? And you can use the chat, and Caitlin and her technical team will shoot them to me and let me know when we have some questions. All right, so again, I'm Jim Peterson, VP of Business Banking at M&T Bank. Happy to be here with everybody. And I'm going to try to share my screen. And let's see what happens. All right, can you see my screen?
Looks good.
Yes or no?
Yes, we can.
All right, good.
Yep. Oh, I can see your whole.
Yes.
All right, here we go. All right, so the agenda for tonight is we're going to talk about why you might want to participate in a pitch competition. Then we're going to cover what your pitch should contain. We're going to talk about what questions you should be ready for from the judges, what to do before the competition, what to do after the competition. I'm going to take your questions, and then we're going to have a test. Yes, there's always a test. All right, so why participate in a pitch competition? The main reason, and when I coach small businesses all the time, I try to get them into as many pitch competitions as I can. Even if they don't need funding, you want to get into pitch competitions to craft your story, because you have to get used to telling your story. And it's not just an elevator's pitch. You got to have that too. But when somebody asks you, you know, what it is that you're doing, or what does your business do, and what do you do? You know, you want to be able to tell that story in a compelling way. And when you're looking to get on the Kiva platform, you're going to have to be able to tell a compelling story, because this is a crowdfunding platform, as you may or may not know. And you have to get people, first of all, interested in you, and then you have to get them interested in what you're trying to do, right? So you need to learn how to tell a compelling story, and pitch competitions help you do that. The amount of time that you have is going to vary. Some pitch competitions will give you as long as you need to tell your story, but many will give you a short period of time. Kiva, we usually do between 3 and 5 minutes, which is typical. Most I would say are like 3 minutes, but there are some who give you 1 minute, right? So that's a lot of crafting to get all that you do in the 1 minute. The shore hatchery is 1 minute long. And then they ask you 7 minutes worth of questions, right? So we're going to get into the questioning as well, but you got to craft that story. The other reason is for marketing. Those people who, again, don't need the money, maybe have a good story. You want to get yourself and your business out there, right? So pitching is a way of marketing. You get in front of large audiences, either virtual or in person. We can't do the live audiences at this moment, but you know, it's great to be in front of live audiences. And it allows you to share your message with these audiences, the judges, because you never know who the judges are. Many times they're very influential people. And then media and social media. There's usually some media folks out there. Number 3, it helps you to network, right? You never know, again, who's going to be in that crowd, who the judges are, who the sponsors might be, and you want to network. A lot of people, I know you heard the saying that your network is your net worth, right? So you never know who you're going to meet and how valuable they can be. So you want to build those relationships. And then money. You know, sometimes it's a little bit of money, sometimes it's a lot of money. Some of these pitch competitions, you can win as much as $100,000, right? That's nothing to sneeze at. So, you know, that's the 4th reason, and it could be a very significant reason. So that's why you want to participate in a pitch competition. So here's what your pitch should contain, right? You want to try to get the judges and the audience engaged. Now, again, might not be a live audience, but even in a virtual audience, you know, you want to get them engaged. So you want to come right out with something that's going to get their attention, right? A lot of times people want to tell jokes. You want to come out with a really good, compelling opening story. You want to do something to get them engaged. When I do business plan prep, I tell people that, you know, your executive summary is like the cover of your book. If you can't get people interested in the first part, they're not going to read the rest of it. Pitching is the same way. You know, your opening sentence or few sentences have to get people engaged, right? So you want to get them engaged, and then you want to tell them what your name and what your business is. You want to give them a little bit of background on yourself, right? Don't go into a lot because you don't have a lot of time. Again, I told you, some of these are a minute, maybe 3 minutes on average. So you don't have a whole lot of time, but you need to cover these things. The most important thing about your pitch is number 4. What problem are you solving? Right? So the whole purpose of your business should be to solve a problem. If you're not solving a problem, then there isn't a need, and why should you be in business, right? So you want to make it very clear, what problem are you solving? Then you want to get to your solution. Then you want to talk about why you or your team are the best people to implement this solution to solve this problem. Okay. Who is your target customer? And be specific, right? Don't just say, well, there's, the biggest joke in business is there's 230 million people in the United States, and if I can only get 10% of those and sell them my gloves for $5 a piece, I'd make so much money. Nobody wants to hear that, because that's a lot of ifs and woulda, couldas, right? Be specific. Who is your target customer? Where they live, how old are they, male, female, what school they go to. You want to be very specific. I like to tell a story about, I invested in this company up in Philadelphia a few years back, and we had a line of female athletic wear, right? And as we were going through the iterations of what this line was going to be, and we targeted our customer, we knew exactly who our customer was, right? We called her Cindy. We had somebody sketch her. We knew where Cindy's grew up. We knew how old Cindy was. We knew all her friends. We named all her friends. We knew her parents. We named her parents, right? We knew what school she went to. And now this is a fictitious person, but this was our target. So everything that we decided to do, we ran through the eyes of Cindy, right? We said, well, would Cindy like these colors? Would Cindy like something shaped like this? Would Cindy wear this? Would Cindy go here? Would Cindy go there? What would Cindy wear if she was going to this place or this party? What would Cindy's friends wear? And we were very specific, because when you target that way, you're going to get all those people like that target, and then some, right? But you can't be everything to everybody. I call it the bell curve, right? Your ideal customer is at the top. You can't sell to everybody on the ends. You'll never be able to market enough to hit everybody. But if you focus on that target, you'll hit a large number of the other people on the other ends, right? So you want to be specific with that. So what is your total addressable market? You'll hear people talk about TAM, right? That's your total addressable market, the market as a whole. Depending on what industry you're in, that market has a total addressable dollar figure to it. And you can find those in a number of places. What will you do with the money? Very important. Again, probably number two of importance to number four being most important. Number two would be, what are you going to do with the money? Right? When you're in these competitions, the judges want to know that you know exactly what you're going to do with those funds, right? Exactly. And they want to help you do that. But if you can't express to them what it is you want to do and why you need those funds, then you're going to have less chance of winning, because they want to know that they're helping you, right? I haven't met a judge yet who doesn't feel like, they want to be the most helpful to the people in this competition, right? So what that means is, if the competition is for $5,000, you want to be able to say, with this $5,000, I'm going to do this, and it's going to allow my business to do that, right? You don't want to go in there and say, well, I really need $30,000, but I'll take your $5,000. You want to go in there and act like that $5,000 is the most important $5,000 in the world, and you know exactly what you're going to do in it, and it's going to help you get to the next step in the growth of your business, right? And then you need a closing statement. You want to leave them with something to remember you by, right? Don't just stop your story and say, oh, well, I'm done. That's my time, and walk away. You want to leave them, just like you want to open up with something that's going to engage them. You want to leave them with something that's going to allow them to remember you, because there's other people in this competition. You might be going first or near the first, 1, 2, or 3. And by the time they get to 10, 11, 12, you know, if you don't leave them with something to remember you by, they may have forgotten about you by the time they get to 8, 9, and 10, right? So you want a good closing statement to make sure that they remember you, right? So what questions should you be ready for from the judges? So I do a lot of judging in these competitions. I know a lot of other people that do judging, and here are the top 10 questions that you're going to hear. CAC, cost to obtain a customer, right? CAC is customer acquisition costs. They want to know that you know this, all right? Because it's expensive to get a customer, right? The money that you're going to spend on marketing, the money that you're going to spend on social media, the money that you're going to spend on stationery, or postcards, maybe you're sending postcards, right? Maybe you're putting an ad in a particular magazine, you know, all of that cost divided by the number of customers that you're going to gain with that expense is your customer acquisition cost, right? So you want to make sure you know that. When people tell you know your numbers, that's one of the numbers you need to know, right? What are your product or service costs? So if you're making cupcakes, what does it cost you to make a cupcake? Right? You need to know that. You need to know how much batter is in there. You need to know it down to how many eggs and what do those eggs cost, right? I don't bake, but I'm going to try to guess what's in a cupcake, and I would guess there's some eggs and some milk and some sugar, right? These things you need to know. You need to know what that 1 pound package of sugar costs and how much of that sugar goes into each cupcake and how much that costs, right? Know your numbers. You need to know what your product and your service is. Where a lot of people mess up is they know their product costs, but they don't calculate in their own labor because they're doing it themselves. And they say, oh, well, you know, it cost me $5 to make this basket and I sell it for 10, so I'm making $5. No, it took you 3 weeks to put that basket together, right? You're losing money. Your time is worth something. Even if you're not paying yourself minimum wage, it's still worth something. And you need to add those hours up and calculate that into your costs and make sure you're actually making money, right? So what are your margins? You know, what are you, again, I just mentioned what you sell it for and what it costs you to make, your true cost of manufacturing and how much profit is included in that. You want to know your margins. What differentiates you or your team or your product or your service? Because I guarantee you're not the only one doing what you do, right? You're not the only one making cupcakes. But what makes your cupcake different? You need to know that, all right? What are your sales? How are you going to get sales? We talked about customer acquisition costs. We talked about marketing. You know, how are you going to get those sales? First of all, know what they are, if you have any. If you're a startup, you may not have any sales. But if you are in business, you need to know what your sales are. What did you do last month? What did you do last week? What did you do yesterday? Right? What did you do last year, depending on how long you've been in business? You need to know that. You need to constantly know that, right? At all times. What are you selling? How much are you making? What your profits are? And how are you going to get your next sale? All right. If you sold 10 cupcakes yesterday, how are you going to sell 10 cupcakes today? Right. You need to know these things. These are the questions the judge is going to ask you. Who's your competition and what makes you better? I love it when people sit in front of me and say, well, I don't have any competition. You know, I make the best cupcakes in the world. Nobody's cupcakes are as good as mine. That's not necessarily true, right? Because it's not always about the best cupcake. Maybe, you know, you certainly can't sell as many cupcakes to the people in let's say New Jersey as a woman sitting in New Jersey, right? It's just easier for her to sell to the folks in New Jersey, right? So if you have a plan that's going to take you at least national, you get a bunch of competition in other places that are just for a number of reasons. Maybe their cupcakes aren't as good as yours, but there's other reasons why other people will buy other people's cupcakes, right? So you need to consider all of that. If you think about McDonald's, McDonald's has more restaurants than any other restaurant, but do they make the best hamburger? Have you had a McDonald's hamburger lately? You know, it's not that great, but there's reasons why, mainly because of location, because there's just so many of them and they're convenient, why they're the number one restaurant in the country, you know. So you need to think about that. What makes you better? What's going to differentiate you from the other people doing what you do? How much money do you really need to start and run your business? All right, really need. You know, I can't tell you how many people come to me, excuse me, as a coach, and they say, "Well, Jim, I need $100,000." Right, that seems to be the going number right now. Everybody needs $100,000, and when we start digging into exactly what they're going to do with that $100,000, they don't need anywhere near $100,000, right? So you want to be accurate when you talk about what you need to start and run your business. And again, the competition might be for $5,000, and you really need that $30,000. But you have to show that that $5,000 is going to get you one step closer to where you need to be. Not just a drop in the bucket. You know, it's not just, well, you give me that $5,000 and I'll keep working until I get to 30. You know, you need that money to help you do something to get closer to where you're trying to go. Right? What would you do with the winnings? Again, what is that $5,000 going to do for you? And be specific. You know, this $5,000 is going to allow me to buy so many of these things that are going to help me get to the next level. It's going to help me buy so much ingredients that I can make so many cupcakes, and I can get into these locations, and I'm going to sell them, and then this is how much money I'm going to make. Again, follow it, be specific. What are you going to do with those funds? If you don't win, where will you get the money to start? All right. So what judges want to know here is that you're just not going to give up because you don't win this competition. You know, you have to show that, you're in it to win it, right? Regardless of whether you win this competition or not, you're going to keep moving. You're going to find a way, and they want to know that you want to find a way. Everybody wants to back a winner, right? So you have to show them that you're going to win one way or the other, whether you win this competition or the next competition. You know, you're going to keep moving. And then what are your next steps? Again, right along with number 9, you know, what are your next steps? What are you going to do? Whether you win or lose this competition, what are your next steps? Be specific. Let them know that, look, I got a plan. I'm going to follow this plan. With or without you, I'm going to be good. Right? So we'll move on to the next one. Again, if you got questions, get them together, write them down, shoot them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them when we can. Caitlin, you just let me know when we need to jump and answer some questions along the way.
No problem.
All right, so we're going to talk about before the competition, right? So before the competition, this is your opportunity, again, to do some marketing. You want to, number one, find out who the judges will be, because you want to influence these judges. Right? If at all possible. You can't always find out who the judges are going to be. But if you can, try to find out who these judges are going to be, because maybe there's some interest you want to, again, when I say get them engaged, there might be something you can touch on to help them, like you, to like what you're doing. If you have, if you have something that has to do with sports, your service or the product that you're selling has to do with sports, and you know that one of the judges is a big fan of a particular sport, you might want to touch on that, right? You might want to give an analogy that's related to sport. If again, this competition coming up is going to be in Baltimore, if the judges are from Baltimore, you know what high school they went to, you know, something like that, what part of town they're from, those kind of things can help get them on your side. Right, so you want to know these things. So find out who the judges will be. Find out if there will be an audience or not. You know, in the days of COVID, you know, audiences, we can't have in-person audiences, but we do have virtual audiences. So you want to know, is there going to be an audience? right? Because you want to get the audience involved too. You want to get them on your side. So you want to know if there's going to be an audience or not. At the, again, some of the competitions that I'm a part of, it's just you and the judges in a room by yourselves. Yeah, I think that's the hardest, that's probably the hardest pitch you're ever going to do, with 8 or 9 folks staring at you and somebody holding the clock and say, go, right? And it's hard, without an audience. I think the audiences are great. So again, before the competition, find out if there's an audience, contact all your friends and family, let them know you're going to be in this competition, right? You need all the support you can get, especially if it's going to be an in-person type thing where you can have people come in the audience and support you. That helps you relax. It gets people on your side. They're going to cheer for you. They're going to clap for you, make you more comfortable. And that, as much as every judge will tell you, well, we don't care about that, they care about that, right? Anybody that has somebody cheering for them, it's going to affect the judges. They're going to see that this person obviously, is supported, and that goes a long way. So whenever you can, have your friends and family involved. You want to post it on all your social media pages, right? Let them know that this is coming up. Because again, this is just the beginning. This is not the end. Excuse me. And you're going to need those folks at some point, especially with the Kiva pitch competition, because after the competition, you're going to have a campaign and you're going to need these folks to support you, right? So you want to get everybody involved, let as many people know that you can, that you're participating. And number 5 is just reiterating that you want as many people in the audience as you can, whether that's virtual or live. You want as many people there as you can to support you, help you feel more comfortable, to show the love, and hopefully influence the judges. All right, we go on to the next one. Excuse me, and we're going to talk about after the competition. So think about your pitch and make any necessary corrections. So you might get up there and you stumble, you might not do your best while you're up there. So you want to make those corrections immediately, right? Think about the questions that the judges ask you. Maybe they asked you something you couldn't answer. You want to find that answer, make sure that if anybody ever asks you that question again, you're going to have an answer, and do it while it's fresh in your mind, right after the competition, right? Make those notes, make those corrections, answer those questions, and do it immediately afterwards so that you never make that mistake again. You'll be that much better the next time you pitch. Reach out to any contacts you made, again, in person or virtually. There's ways virtually to connect to people as well. So if you reached out to anybody there and said, oh, I'll give you a call or I'll send you an email, do that. All right, do that as soon as you can. Build that network, make those relationships, while you remember, so you don't forget. If there was any media coverage, reach out to them. Say, hey, listen, I saw you were at the event. I saw you were online, maybe virtually. Did you take any video? Did you make any notes? Is there going to be a story coming out? Share that with me. Do you mind sharing that with me? Again, make that connection, because you're going to need them. If you're on the Kiva platform and you want somebody to participate in your campaign, maybe that media outlet or that newspaper or whatever who happen to be there, maybe they'll run your story about your campaign and help you again reach your goal. And then you want to let everybody know, obviously, that your campaign has started. So if you're on a Kiva platform, again, you got to reach out to everybody. Let them know that your campaign has started and that you need them to contribute, right? So that's after the competition. And some of these, when I'm talking about before and after the competition, sometimes these competitions may not even be in your area, right? So I'm affiliated with a lot of competitions. Some of them are over on the Eastern Shore, some of them in Philly. I do competitions out in Detroit, San Francisco. When Afrotech was live, we would go out to Afrotech. I went with a few young men from Baltimore. I guess it will be 2 years now, and they ended up to Afrotech in San Francisco, and they ended up winning $10,000. Right? They weren't sure if they were going to be able to make it. They were, flying to San Francisco isn't cheap. And, but they were very happy that they went because they won 10 grand, right? So, but when you're in competitions like that away from home, that makes these tips that I'm giving you about before and after a little more difficult, right? Because you want to find out where the venue is, where this competition is. You want to find out what's in that area. You want to try to invite some influential people from that area to come to the competition, right? You want to try to invite some media from that area to come to the competition, right? So you got to do a little bit of research, and you got to do a little bit of homework, and prep in other areas might be a little more difficult. If I'm taking you over to, or if I invite you to the competition on the Eastern Shore in Salisbury, Maryland, right? Can you get your friends and family to drive 2 hours over to Salisbury, Maryland? You may or may not. So maybe you want to find some other support in the area, or you want to reach out to some media in the area. You want to try to make those contacts, get the support that you can in those areas. And it's, these competitions aren't always in your backyard. So you may need to do a little more than just this reaching out to your neighborhood for some of these competitions, but it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. So the review. So what we talked about why you want to participate in a pitch competition. We talked about what your pitch should contain. We talked about questions you should be prepared for from the judges, what to do before the competition, and what to do after the competition. All right, now each one, just about everything that we talked about could go on for hours. I mean, these things, I'm trying to make it pretty simple so that we can get through this and we can get to your questions that you might have. But, there's a lot of layers to every one of these, and they can go on for some time. But I try to keep it brief so that some of the top, at least the top 10 things that you should do in each category. And if you need any further help, you just reach out to a coach. And there's a lot of them around. Catch me if you can, but there's a bunch of folks out that in and around Baltimore City that can assist you with any one of these things. So we're going to move on to questions. So does anybody have any questions about any of the things that I covered? And Caitlin, I'm going to need you to facilitate that. And there will be a test, by the way.
I've been following.
So
Awesome. Can y'all hear
get
me
ready
okay?
for that. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Just want to make sure. Great. So I'm going to jump around on questions. We have a hard 6:30 stop, so I'm just going to try and get through as many as we can. One of the first ones to come out was if you could expand a little bit more on TAM. Is that the number of people in your target market in a certain area?
No, that's what TAM is. Let's say your industry, again, we'll go back to the cupcake analogy, right? So if you're a baker and you plan on selling baked goods, the total baking industry, right? Let's say you're a home baker. I bake from home and I sell my goods to family and friends and maybe at farmers markets, right? So that market has a dollar value. The total home baking market has a dollar value. You can find these things in the census tracks those. Your city should track those. City should have an idea of how many people bake from home and sell their goods from home, right? So your total addressable market is that market that you're in. You're in the baking market, right? If you're selling athletic wear, that athletic wear market, which is in the billions, which is huge, you're talking about the big dogs, right? That market, that total addressable market is what we're talking about. So pretty much your industry or your what they call your cottage or what you specify in that market is what I'm referring to with TAM.
Awesome. All right.
All right,
Yeah,
I hope that answered.
I hope so too. If there's follow-up, please let us know in the chat or pop in. If not, I'm going to move on to the next question, which is, do you have any recommendations for inviting influential people to a pitch competition?
Recommendations. All right, everybody wants to know what's in it for them, right? So if you're trying to, if there's a person in particular that you're trying to invite to a pitch competition, then let them know what's in it for them. If your product you think is a good fit for them, whether they be somebody who might want to buy your product or somebody who might want to invest in your product, let them know that, look, I got a product that I think you're interested in. You need to come watch me pitch, right? Because if I get this thing off the ground, this is going to be perfect for you, right? If they're a general investor and you're not necessarily interested in them coming to see you, then you might want to tell them that, listen, there's some amazing people pitching at this event. I know you're an investor. You might want to come and watch these folks because, you might see something that you're interested in. So basically, you have to tell you have to let them know what's in it for them. It might be good food, right? You might say, hey, it's being catered by so and so, and I know that company, and I know their food is slamming. So you might want to come because their wings are off the chain, right? You want to come get some of these wings, right? So basically, just tell them what's in it for them. That's usually how you get people to come out, or you can guilt them into it. That's another way. Right? Say, hey, look, this is a Baltimore event. You're from Baltimore, and you say that you like to help small businesses in Baltimore, so you ought to be here, right? So just get creative. Sometimes you got to get creative to get folks out.
Awesome. Along those lines, how do people even find pitch competitions?
You got to keep Googling, and again, build that network. Get into one pitch competition. Like those of you who are going to be in the Kiva pitch competition, sometimes what I hear from people who are in pitch competitions is that the best part are the people you're in it with, because you can make lifelong friends. You guys are on this journey together, right? And then you tell them about the competitions you're in, and they tell you about the competitions that they're going to be in and what they heard. And you build that network of people who are trying to do the same things you're doing. Not necessarily the same thing you're doing, but they're growing a business and you're growing a business. And that journey is similar, right? So reach out, again, build your network, not only through pitch competitions, but through other organizations. There's accelerators, there's incubators. There's a lot of programs out here for small businesses, and you need to be a part of them or try to be a part of them so that you'll be in that kind of network that word of mouth, you'll let each other know when those pitch competitions are coming up.
Awesome. Okay, so a more specific business question. So Business Squared LLC is they have a business credit education and solution service. They've often felt, because they have entrepreneurs they understand. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to read it word for word the way they put it. I've often felt, because I help entrepreneurs understand different and new ways to fund their businesses, judges may look down due to sharing a common interest to fund entrepreneurs. Is this true?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you honestly that yes, it is true. Now, most judges will tell you, no, it's not true. We don't care, and we judge everybody saying, yeah, of course they do, right? But that shouldn't stop you. Again, what you have to do is give them something that they need. Judges need to know that if I help you, you're going to be successful and you're going to help other people. Again, what are you going to do with this money? How are you going to use the funds that we're going to give you? Just make sure that you're very clear that what you're going to do with those funds is going to help other people. That makes judges feel good. That makes anybody feel good, right? Everybody wants to help somebody. So if you can be very clear that what you're trying to do, if they help you do what you're doing, you're going to help a lot of people by helping these entrepreneurs get their credit right? Business and personal, I hope, because we all need help on both. But if you can convince those judges that what you're doing is going to help a lot of people, that ought to make them feel good about helping you.
Well said, well said. Also, Rashia says hi in the chat. I don't know if you can see it with sharing your screen. So
Hey, Rashida, yeah. Hey, I
oh,
see
and
two
then
friendly faces.
right. There's one other question which was around just knowing a little bit more about you and your businesses. But I want to wait until the end for that one since we have 10 minutes left. I want to open it up to more questions from folks if they have any. You can unmute
Well, I got to get to my test. I got to get to my test.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good.
All right. So, and how many people do we have on the line?
Looks like 22. That'll include a couple of us though.
That's a lot. All right. So the test is, typically I would ask every person on the line to tell me something that they learned tonight that they didn't know before they joined, right? So because we have so many people and we're running short on time, I'm just going to ask that if anybody wants to volunteer something that they learned tonight that they didn't know before they joined us tonight.
I would say you gave good recommendations on inviting family and friends to include influential people in the area to the pitch competition. I think that I was more so focused on what I had to do to prepare that I didn't think about the external factors that can contribute to the end result.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's important. You need that support. Anybody else? Do I have to start calling on people? I can see you.
I'll say I never thought about the before and after the competition. When I heard of pitch competitions, it was more directly concerned with the pitch, not the before the competition, getting to know who the judges were, all those different areas, and after the competition, the follow up, and just thinking about reflecting on what you actually went through during the process. That was something new to me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Michael. Yeah, it's critical. It's critical. That pre and you got the before, the during, and the after, right? You want to prepare to go. You want to be prepared when you get there, and then you want to follow up. It's all about follow up. So even if you're in a competition, whether it's virtual or live, and you see somebody, taking notes, that's probably some kind of reporter, right? You see somebody with a camera, they're probably some kind of media, right? Whether it's just a Instagram person or a real media person, right? You need to go try to meet that person, find out who they are, make sure you make that contact so that they can follow you on your road to success. And again, if you got a Kiva campaign, you definitely want to reach out to that person and see if they'll help support you with your campaign. Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Anybody else?
This is Emmaus. One thing I did learn is just connecting with other people in the competition. I didn't think about that, just so that we can, if I hear about anything or if somebody else does, we can pass that information along.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. That's critical. Again, the people that you meet in these competitions, just like when you're in an accelerator program or an incubator program, some of the best connections you're going to make are going to be the people who are right in the room with you. Anybody else?
Hi, this is Oslin Cummings. I do want to share what you mentioned about making corrections, whatever you fall short on, making corrections right away when it's fresh, and also extending yourself some grace, because if you go out there, you do your best, you kill it, but sometimes mistakes happen. But just also not beating yourself up. I think that's important too. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for that. Yeah, that's important. And do it while it's fresh in your mind. You don't want to, even if you're traveling or whatever, or you're tired, you don't want to wait too long after the event, because you'll forget some things, and you want to do it while it's fresh, make those notes, come back to it later. All right, you can throw in some questions in there, Caitlin, as we wind down this test of mine.
I'd like to add one more. I thought it was
Please.
cool. I thought it was cool that you said to add the labor that you do as part of the cost for, you know, just kind of like your operating costs generally. You know, it's not just the cost of, it's not just the cost of the eggs, but it's the 3 weeks that it takes, like to include your time as valuable. I think that that's really important because then it calculates some of your staff time as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is something that I deal with all the time as a coach. I get so many people who come to me and they just forget about their own labor, right? That basket analogy that I gave is true. There's a woman in the area that I'm not going to put her on blast, but she makes these baskets and she makes these beautiful baskets and she's losing money on every one. Because she takes months, sometimes 6 months. Her big season is Christmas, right? And she'll start in like May or June making these baskets. And she does not include her time or labor into these things, right? She knows how much they cost because she has all the receipts for all the items that she put in there. But I was talking to her and she said, yeah, I had to go to, I think she said New Jersey to get that little thing that goes in that basket. And I'm like, man, you drove to New Jersey to go get this one thing to go in this basket and you're charging like $25 for this basket? You know, you ought to charge $25 for that one thing, right? So she didn't even factor any of that in. She put the basket together, add up all her receipts on what it costs her, including the basket, and then double it. And that's cool. But you got to factor some labor in there, right? She went through all that trouble to put them in there, to wrap the basket, and then she's paying to be in the shows that she's in, to sell the basket. You know, you got to consider all of that, right? Including your labor. A lot of people leave their own labor out. Thank you.
Awesome. There's not really any other questions. One is someone's pointing out, Kevin, that your voice sounds like Al Roker.
Like Al Roker? Yeah, I'm a little rough right now. I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up, but yeah, I'll take that. I like Al Roker.
That's a compliment. He makes a lot of money with that voice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I presume for all of his businesses that he's had in the past.
Yeah, it's rough.
I just thought, Tracy, you said you were asking about the PowerPoint being available. We're recording this session, so we're going to follow up with folks afterward to send it out. As long as you RSVP through the Eventbrite and everything, you should be set. If not, definitely send us your email. Any last questions? We have just 2 minutes left.
I just wanted to make sure I was clear on the TAM. So when you were saying it goes by the market I'm in and what's like the industry market. So like I'm in the beauty supply industry. So that market obviously brings in billions of dollars a year. But are you talking about if I go on the census, census.gov and then narrow it down to my area and like maybe look at the next code and see what people are making in my area? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Again, if you plan on reaching your area, whatever your area is, Baltimore or your neighborhood or Maryland, you want to know what the total addressable market is in that area. All right. Now, if you want to be worldwide, you got to look for numbers for worldwide, but you're going to start wherever it is you're going to start, Maryland, tri-state area, whatever that is, and find out what the total addressable market is in that area. It's usually based on, that's why I said census, because it's usually based on the number of people in that area.
All right.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, y'all should see we just launched a poll. Hopefully you are seeing that and can respond. Once we get folks' responses in, we'll take a look at how everyone's feeling. It looks like some folks are requesting to see people drop their websites and stuff in the chat. So if you have a business, I hope you do since you're here, you can go ahead and drop your different kind of contact info. If it's, Facebook to see your website, or if you have another place you send folks, please feel free to drop it in. And then just while we're closing up and waiting on the poll, Jim, I know you have to go. Thank you so much, and M&T's sponsorship and support in hosting this workshop. We're so excited to keep working with you through to the competition.
Absolutely, yeah, and thank you for having me. Again, M&T and myself, we love working with Baltimore small businesses because personally, I like working with Baltimore small businesses because you guys are so passionate. I mean, that's key. You got to be passionate about what you're doing because it's hard. It's hard running a small business, starting a small business, running a small business, growing a small business is hard. And I'm going to tell you something that you probably don't know is that 97.3 or 0.5% of all the businesses in Baltimore are small businesses, right? The United States government classifies small businesses as being under 7 million and under 500 employees. So you guys are in a big group, right? And it's hard. I've been there, you're there, it's tough. So you got to have passion. That's why I love working with Baltimore small business owners because they have passion. You guys are very passionate and I just enjoy working with you. So thank you, Caitlin, for inviting me. Thank you, Kiva, and M&T is proud to be a sponsor.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Jim, feel free to pop off. I'm just going to keep on everyone for just another minute or two so we can do some wrap up. And there's still some folks dropping stuff in the chat. But thank you again so much. So if you're
Absolutely.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Sorry, I got to go. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I hope it was really helpful. There are lots of notes and stuff there. I saw lots of people writing down stuff. So please feel free to follow up with us if you have any other questions. There's lots of resources available around pitching. If you're looking for another workshop to go to, we have another person in our Kiva network, a business who's going to be hosting pitch workshops. Those do cost money. This one was free, but those do cost money because it's part of our business. I'm sure that there are other folks on here. I know DeAndrea, you were shouting out your business and the services you offer. Please, feel free to kind of network and connect with each other to get those resources. And we'll continue to let you all know just through our emails and stuff about different opportunities available. Definitely some good stuff coming out. Just so you all know, if you own a restaurant business, there's a big grant coming out from Baltimore Development Corporation tomorrow. There's already some information on baltimoretogether.com. And you can find more details around how to apply for that grant. If you know anyone, please share the word about it. And then if you are a Kiva entrepreneur and you're looking to participate in the pitch competition, we'll be following up with you later this week. Just reach out and let us know if you have any questions. And if you haven't let me know that you're interested already, please email me as soon as possible so we can record that info. But beside that, I'll turn it over to Stephanie to close us out and let us know what's coming up next.
I was just gonna say thank you for attending the pitch workshop, but also to RSVP. But Caitlin, I think you said that the Eventbrite for the competition is not open anymore.
Oh, no, sorry about that. I will drop that in here, or unless you have it. If you can drop it, I thought you were talking about something else.
Okay, sounds good. That was it for me though.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. We'll stick around just another minute or two so you all can look in the chat and keep getting in touch, but we'll close this out probably by 6:35. Thanks, everyone. Y'all are so welcome. I'm glad this was helpful.
So there's another pitch competition besides the one that's the 4th?
So we're doing a pitch competition on the 4th as Baltimore Corps for the Kiva Baltimore program. I have seen some mutterings of other competitions online. The spring is usually a pretty busy time for them because businesses are like starting to kind of pick back up from the cold weather months and everything. So if you Google around or look on Eventbrite and Facebook and stuff, you'll definitely find the information for those. There's another workshop that Kiva Borrower is hosting around pitching. So if you're interested in like doing another workshop, we can.
Oh, got you. Okay. Thank you.
Also, it's so nice to see your face today.
Yes, I was like, oh, hey, girl.
For those still on, this is our most recent Kiva borrower from 2021, our only one so far this year.
Yes, I know. I was so mad nobody else was I was able to donate to somebody else, but I did I found somebody else that was doing like that was close because I still wanted to like keep it kind of close. I think she was in maybe Philadelphia or something. I was like, well, at least I was able to donate to someone.
I love it. Yeah, I'm hoping we launch another campaign in the coming weeks.
Yes. Oh, thank you for this. I really appreciate you.
No problem, no problem. Hey, Nick, I saw you turn on your camera. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thanks, folks. And also, I can't remember the name of the Black Box Radio person, but you're an Elevation awardee. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Queen. I'm actually eating, so I don't want to
Oh,
be.
hey, sorry to interrupt, but thanks for.
Likewise. Yeah, I am a awardee, so I'm trying to learn all I can learn. So it's nice seeing everyone. Please
Good.
check us out at blackboxradio.com also.
Yep, I'm subscribing.
There we go. There you go, sis. You guys
Thank you. Thank you.
have a blessed night.
You too. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tracy, I just saw your note about Lisa. I didn't know you're connected to her. That's awesome. She's a great entrepreneur that we worked with in 2020.
Thanks, Caitlin. I was here.
Hey,
Good
Ted.
information. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for sticking around. I'm glad it was helpful.
Oh, it's always helpful. You always learn so much.
Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, we're gonna go ahead and close it. Oh, DeAndrea, hello.
And thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. All right, we're gonna close it down now, y'all. Get home safely.
Where do we send you said send you the email? I'm sorry. To where?
Oh, you're good. If you're interested in getting follow-up info.
Yeah, so I came across you guys on Eventbrite and just decided to join in.
Okay.
And so this was my first time actually hearing about any of this information as far as the competition and everything.
Okay.
So how do I stay in contact?
So if you RSVP through Eventbrite, we should be able to get your information and be able to send it through there to you. But if you want to doubly make sure, if you want to just drop your email in the chat real quick, I can just record it and we can make sure to follow up. Or you can email me. That's another option too. Whatever is easiest.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Candace.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night, y'all.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.